Hi everyone, John from LookSmart Home Inspections here in New Jersey, and today I want to talk to you about ancillary inspections. And what is an ancillary inspection? It's an inspection that is in addition to a home inspection. And sometimes, doing these ancillary inspections are important. I'll often have customers ask me about these ancillary or other inspections, and I just thought maybe I want to give you some thoughts on some of these inspections. So when I'm talking about ancillary inspections, usually the inspections that we're talking about are oil tank location services, sewer line inspections, and level 2 chimney inspections. So those are the three main types of other ancillary inspections. And in my mind, the more due diligence you have, the more information that you have on a property, the better decisions that you can make as a buyer. So it's important to at least think about and give some thought to doing these other ancillary inspections because it'll bring more information to light. And the better information, the more you have, the better you can possibly negotiate. And the more peace of mind you'll have as a new home buyer. You're spending a fortune in New Jersey on these houses, so spending additional money on these ancillary inspections is, probably money well spent. Now, with a home inspection, most home inspectors in New Jersey are going to be able to do the main comprehensive home inspection and a termite inspection along with that, and also the radon test. So that's kind of what our wheelhouse is in New Jersey. And some of us also do some ancillary inspections. Take, for example, I perform a sewer line inspection because I've had a lot of clients ask me about doing a sewer line inspection. And let's talk about a sewer line inspection a little bit. So every house, even homes with a septic system, they have a main service lateral or sewer line that goes from the house to the street connection or city tap. And as home inspectors, there's no way for us to see this line. And to do a sewer line inspection is important because it's the only way that a home inspector can give the information to the client regarding the condition of this below ground sewer line. This is the main sewer line from the house to the street. This is where all your wastewater goes into. And this is a rather expensive line. I mean, it can cost $6, $8, $10,000 to repair or replace this line if there's problems. And some of the problems that we do find are displacement of the pipes, which is basically the pipes have separated in one way or the other, and sewage is just basically going into the ground environment. Another issue that we find is tree root intrusion, where tree roots are actually looking for the water, and they're attracted to that water in the sewer line, and they make penetration. And with tree root penetration, your pipe can easily become damaged or obstructed. So tree root penetration is kind of a big deal. And that's another thing that we won't obviously be able to look at, doing a visual home inspection. The other thing that a sewer line inspection brings to light is bellies or low areas in the line. And we'll refer to this as home inspectors or sewer line inspection companies as lines that retain water. And we don't want to have a line that retains water because that means that there's little or no flow in that section of the line. So if there's little or no flow in that section of the line, you're just going to back up. You're very much prone to backing up because the water just won't flow into the line. So that's very, very important. Other things that we'll find are just areas of damage over the years. These old sewer lines will get areas of holes and damage. And that's something that's important because we won't be able to see this on a standard home inspection. So it's important to discuss this with your home inspector. See if he or she recommends the sewer line inspection. I certainly do, not just because I do them. I started doing them because as a service to my clients, because they started asking for it and they wanted sewer line inspections done. So I went to school. I learned how to do that particular inspection. It's a specialty inspection, and not every house we can adequately do a sewer line inspection because some of the homes just don't have proper access to the sewer line. And in that case, there's really nothing you can do. But that in itself is a defect in itself, because there should be access to the sewer line, either so we can get a router service in there, or you can have a sewer line inspection performed. So that's the first ancillary inspection I want to discuss, and it's one that's important, is don't forget about your sewer line inspection, because it just brings another layer of due diligence to your inspection process. Oil tank inspections, or oil tank location services. So this is an important ancillary inspection, because you don't want to buy a house with a below ground oil tank that you don't know about, right? That would be a mess. And these tanks, if they do leak below ground, you take possession of the home, you have a big problem, especially whenever there's a discharge of fuel oil, the EPA gets involved, and it's generally a disaster and very, very expensive to clean up. So most attorneys are going to require, or at least recommend, that their clients have an oil tank location service done. And that's generally in New Jersey called a tank sweep. So what's a tank sweep? A company comes out with a piece of equipment, and that generally is, just take for example a big metal detector, for lack of a better word, and they're gonna use they're gonna walk the property in a pattern, and that equipment will sound if they or alert that technician to any ferrous metals, which are basically metallic objects underground. And if one comes up and it's the size and shape of an oil tank, then that'll be flagged for further evaluation. So these are really important to do, these oil tank location services. And I get maybe 4 or 5 calls a week asking me do I do this? And the answer is no, I don't do this. I actually tried to do this type of service. It's actually a skill, it's an art, it's a science, and it's very challenging. So I leave that to the companies that do that all day, every day, rather than myself, who would maybe contract to do 1 or 2 of these a week. And I think that's really important to do, is to have the specialist in the field perform the oil tank inspection. Now, there are some home inspectors that do these tank sweeps. I don't know how they do it effectively, but they do it. The question that you as a consumer need to ask is, if you miss a tank on the property that I'm buying and I close on the home and take possession of the house, am I covered for any environmental discharges of a fuel tank that you miss on the property? So that's what I would ask, because I found that this environmental insurance is actually very expensive to obtain. And most of the insurance coverage that is out there will cover the tank only. Well, that's great. So you're going to cover a $2,000 tank removal, but yet, I have $70,000 of environmental cleanup. Gee, thanks for that. So make sure that whoever you hire, you properly vet in terms of the insurance coverage that they have that would adequately cover them in the event that they miss a tank on your property and there's an accidental leakage of oil, because that would be a huge problem. So make sure you do your due diligence. But I do think that oil tank location is important to do, because it's important, especially if you're buying an older house, say 1950s to 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s home. And a lot of these areas are known to have oil tanks in northern New Jersey. So it's really important to get your hands around a good oil tank inspection, and to hire somebody who's diligent and knowledgeable and will actually take their time and to do the job correctly. So the oil tank inspection or oil sweep will start in the inside, and your inspector or technician will be looking for any kind of clues regarding any oil tanks that did exist on the property visually, and then they'll start their outside inspection with their piece of equipment. There's a couple of good pieces of equipment. Most companies today will use something called a Fisher 1000 or 6000, and that is basically a larger metal detector that would detect any of these below ground tanks. So by all means, don't forget about your oil tank location services. Level 2 chimney inspections, what are they? A level 2 chimney inspection is an in-depth inspection of the interior of the chimney flue and also the fireplace. So as a home inspector, I'm kind of limited in what I can see when I see a chimney system or a fireplace, right? I can only visually inspect that system. The exterior of the chimney, I can certainly see a lot, right? I can see the exterior brick condition. I can see the flashing condition. I can see the top of the chimney. I can see if there's a well-developed chimney crown. I can see if there's a rain cover on the chimney, right? I can see all those things on the outside. I can also see if there's any movement of the chimney away from the home. I can see the position of the chimney. Is it an interior chimney? Is the chimney on an exterior cold wall of the house? So those are the things as a home inspector I can see. Also, the fireplace, I can visually look inside the fireplace. I can see the condition of the brick, the mortar joints. I can look at the ash clean out. I can look at the hearth. I can look at the function of the damper. I can look at the lintel. I can look at a lot of things. But the thing that I can't look at really is the interior of the liner. And the liner is a very important part of the chimney because it keeps the products of combustion from entering areas that they shouldn't be. And if they do enter those areas in a breach or opening in a liner or a damaged liner, that can be a significant safety hazard because we all understand the risks of carbon monoxide poisoning. So having a level 2 chimney inspection is a good idea. And in fact, you're supposed to have one, but not everybody does have one. But you're really supposed to have one when you're buying a piece of real estate, when a house is changing hands. You're also supposed to have one when you're updating or changing your heating equipment, or when you do make modifications in any way to the chimney, and also when you convert from one fuel source to the other. So say you're going from oil and you're going to natural gas. That would call for a level 2 chimney inspection to be performed. So this is an in-depth inspection of the chimney top to bottom, where myself as a home inspector, I'm limited. I can only visually see the areas that I went over. But chimneys are an expensive system, and I find that the repair of these chimneys is very, very expensive, and it's worthwhile to know the condition of the interior of the chimney. Well, you'll say, "Hey, John, I don't have a fireplace. What do I need that for?" But in a lot of different cases, you're still going to have a heating flue. You're going to have a chimney that vents the boiler or the furnace and the water heater. Whatever your heating system is, likely, unless it's high efficiency, it's going to vent in that heating flue. And that heating flue is just as important as a fireplace chimney flue, because if there's any breaches or openings, that toxic gas, those products of combustion, can enter the living space where they certainly don't belong and can create a significant hazard. So it's really important to know what the interior of your chimney looks like. So having that ancillary inspection performed is important. Now, the thing that I would say is that when you do get a level 2 chimney inspection performed and you want to have one, try to contract with a company that just does inspections. And, because I think there's a little bit more of an incentive for companies to find problems when they actually do the work. So try to find somebody who just does those level 2 chimney inspections as a business, as an inspection business, and doesn't actually perform the work on the chimney, because I think you'll get more of an objective evaluation of the condition of how the chimney actually is in its present condition. So that's what I would have to say about those level 2 chimney inspections. They are important. Don't forget about them. and just at least learn about them and see if it's a right ancillary inspection for you to have on your home inspection. And I would really recommend them if you're a fireplace individual, if you want to use your fireplace, and if you're buying a house with 1 or 2 fireplaces, because you're building a fire in your house and you really want to make sure that the chimney is safe. And as a home inspector, I'm going to do my best to give you that information. But I am limited on that chimney liner. I won't be able to see the condition of that liner in most cases. And so it's important to do this other piece of due diligence, the level 2 chimney inspection. So there you have it. There's some information about ancillary inspections, and hopefully you've found that useful, because I find that sometimes clients don't really understand these other inspections, and sometimes they're not even told about these other inspections. You would think that the real estate agent in some cases would actually offer this information, but sometimes not. So it's good for you guys to understand that, hey, the home inspection, radon, termite, yeah, all that is super important. That's like the foundation to build upon. But there's other things you can do. There's other inspections that you can do. There's the oil tank location, the level 2 chimney inspection, and the sewer line inspection. And all of these add another layer of due diligence and information so you can make good decisions about, the house that you're thinking about buying. I mean, my goodness, you're spending a small fortune. Even starter homes in this crazy state are $500,000, $600,000. And I really do appreciate your guys' trust in letting me work for you in terms of, doing these home inspections for you guys. I truly appreciate it. I don't take that lightly. I understand that this is a huge purchase for you, and hiring the right person is paramount, and it's super important. So I don't take that trust lightly. I work hard every day, to keep that trust for you guys, that the trust that you guys have given me. So if you have any questions or anything, just reach out. So hopefully this, shed a little bit more light, and you're just a little bit more educated on the home inspection process and on these other ancillary inspections, guys. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.